you made your service, you've got your funding hopefully, or you're struggling with your own funds. How do you market whatever you've made, whether it's your product, your service? So we're going to have this interesting panel which is going to talk about innovative ways of marketing your product and service. And for this I'm going to first invite on the panel Pushpita Gaur of Murcia. Pushpita is into the business of doing bags and purses. Just give me a second while I pull out her profile for y'all. Next on the panel we have Sheetal Kakkar Mehra. Sheetal is a wonderful speaker as well. We just recently done a session with her for Thai Stree Shakti in January, and she's into corporate training, soft skill training. This is one more business that a lot of women get into, which is services. So whether it's soft skill, HR or any kind of training services, it's very difficult to market this kind of a service, because when you have a product which is tangible, it is still kind of easy to kind of showcase it to some extent, and market it. But when it's an intangible service, it's even more tough. And Sheetal has some very brilliant ideas around that, which we realized. And next, I'm going to invite Smriti Dalvi. Smriti is the founder of Florista, and I'm sure all of you have heard about Florista. Florista is a service of flowers, which most of us would have used during gifting purposes. And she's also a co-team member of Thai Stree Shakti, and she's going to be moderating today's session. So Smriti, it's over to you now. No, I think I'm not.
Yeah. Hi everybody. It's really wonderful to see such a large turnout today, and this is one of very interesting topics that I really love to speak, and I'm glad that I was selected for this. The first thing that I'd like to tell all of you all is breaking a myth that marketing requires really high budgets, because it doesn't. And all of us here today, my co-panelists, would like to share with you a lot of initiatives that we have taken in our businesses, products, services, a mix of both, wherein we really didn't have to spend much when we had to market, our business product or service. So I think we'll get started straight away. We'll initially start with giving a brief intro about ourselves and what exactly we do, so you get to the feel of when we talk about marketing. So we'll start with Pushpita. Pushpita, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And we'll start with initially when you started. What was it that you did, to be known, seen, heard? How did you get your first customer? I think let's, start with that.
So hi everybody. We're speaking on a very interesting subject. And first of all, I want to speak about my brand Murcia. So what is Murcia? You are Murcia and I am Murcia. Murcia is about an independent woman, fun, flirty, who knows her mind, and that is what gets translated into my handbags range, and that is Murcia. So we are selling Murcia across all online platforms across the country. We're there on Myntra, Jabong, Flipkart, Rediff, eBay, you name it, and we're there on all online portals. So, well, the marketing part of it has not been easy. As you know, a startup has a lot of challenges. And especially the first thing that comes to your mind is, do we have the funds to market my product? And like Smriti said, the first myth that we have to break is that you do not need funds to market. It's as simple as that. Believe me, the strongest point of marketing is networking. And that is what we stress at every entrepreneurial organization or meets like this. Networking is the foundation of marketing. Marketing is something which, is word of mouth. And networking not only helps you to get the business, to sustain the business, but also market your product. So use networking as the strongest tool to be heard. Being a product person, I would say that as a startup, let the product speak for itself. If your product exceeds expectations, you are creating brand ambassadors for your product at no cost. You're not spending on advertising, or you're not spending in a print media or a TV media, but it's your product which is speaking. If somebody is carrying a Murcia handbag and she loves the handbag, she is going to talk to everybody around her and say, see, I love the product. You're creating brand ambassadors, and that's the strongest marketing point that you have in your hand. So especially as a startup, I would say concentrate on your product, give your product the best, so that you create brand ambassadors and people who talk about your brand, because they're carrying that product. Secondly, I would say that initially we did a lot of events. We did a lot of cross promotions. We tied up with a lot of other brands who were selling other different products. We have tied up recently. I think we did a small kiosk in a Zumbathon thing in Phoenix Mill in LBS Mark, and we put up a small kiosk where there were so many people in the Zumbathon, and everybody got to know about the Murcia product. And that didn't cost too much of money. So, again, coming back to the point that marketing does not entail spends. It's your marketing activity which is important, not the marketing expense. So, initially, I think, yes, I would say that it was my networking, the events, and my cross promotions and cross branding that we did with other people that actually helped to establish Murcia as a brand.
Great, yeah. Thanks, Pushpita. What about you, Sheetal? How did you start? Now, Sheetal has a different business. It's about services. So she really doesn't have a product or a tangible product that somebody can touch and feel. So it'd be interesting to hear Sheetal.
I started soft skills in 2000 at a time when there was no requirement for a product like corporate etiquette training. So whenever I would go and meet a CEO or a head of HR, they would invariably say, yeah, come and teach. And then, they'd be like, do you really want us to pay you for it? So clearly they thought it was a favor that they were doing to me. And it was very tough, and one would get disheartened. And, it took time. I think one thing that worked in my favor, honestly, which I did nothing about, was the fact that India changed. I think sometime in 2004, 2005, Indians started traveling, negotiating, buying, selling companies, working for large multinational companies. Also, there was a lot of matrix reporting. So, you would have a boss who's sitting in Singapore or USA. So, you wanted to understand how to interact with people across the world. So, that created a need which I had nothing to do with. But yes, it was initially very tough because I felt that, I just couldn't understand how to market a product like this because it was very disheartening. You would go meet people and they would just take your brochure, and at one stage, I'll be honest, I even gave up. I said, this is not going to work. Maybe everything doesn't work. Maybe it works in the US where I studied and trained, but doesn't work over here. But one thing when I look back now is that I felt what worked in my favor was a little flexibility when it came to marketing. So initially I would go and have face-to-face meeting. Then I realized that why don't I collect all these names into a database. So that time email had just come in, and I would capture all these, and I had a master database which I still have from that time, and I started sending them an etiquette tip of the month. Nothing that required them to scroll down, because nobody has a time, but just 2 or 3 lines on something which is related to corporate etiquette. So it could be 3 different ways to knot a tie, or it would be use your business card as a communication tool, and just 3 points. So I realized one thing, that a lot of people, because of that, they got reminded and then they somehow kept in touch. So I think that initial idea really worked, because the problem with the service is that there's nothing you can touch. It's just the experience which is going to get you back customers. But how do you get that first customer? So I think that was just some unique idea which I don't know who gave me, but it worked, and that was a starting point.
Great, Sheetal. Just to share with you, how I got my first customer, what did we do? Because the business that I'm in, Fresh Flowers, is dominated by the unorganized sector. So it was very difficult, 8.5 years back when we started. So we had to create a differentiation. Only then people would notice us as different from, what somebody is already doing, or why should you be different from the local vendor who's selling flowers on the road? So we took a lot of care in creating that differentiation. So we said our delivery boys are going to be trained in doing the delivery, because we've seen a lot of these urchins wearing chappals, shabbily dressed, carrying pretty flowers, but then the entire, we've seen that they don't go beyond the corporate office security. They're shooed away from there and the flowers are taken in. So we said, no, our guys have to go there very well dressed, and when he's handing over the flowers, he should wear white gloves, a little bow. So all these made a little bit of difference. And we didn't start straight away with customers, who we didn't know. We started with our friends and, business associates and family. We said, let's create, 500 rupees arrangement and give it for 100 rupees just for feedback. So first 6 months, we only called up our friends and family members. There's a nice 500 rupees beautiful flowers. Would you like to send to somebody? So they would, they started said, okay, send it to my wife for no occasion day. Send it to my girlfriend. Send it to So we said, why just sending it to your wife and girlfriends and keeping it at home? If you go for a meeting, why don't you send it to your client and say that it was nice meeting you? And we'll not give a very large elaborate bunch. We'll have a very subtle arrangement in a glass vase with one flower. Let him keep it on his desk and he'll always remember you, for that. You can just write a note saying that it would be good doing business with you and it was nice meeting you. And that really worked. And we felt we got repeat orders from these people, And only after 6 months we said, okay, it's time now, because people are getting addicted to this. And we, our own, family and friends who were not used to gifting flowers actually now started, they would just call up and say, please send us, 100 rupees flowers. We said, no, it's no longer 100 now, because we've gone beyond that. And that's when we got into, retail. So when we get into retail, what happens is you need to have a lot of things that you need to keep in mind. There are other people coming and seeing your brand. So, the way your store is, the way your person is communicating, all these are marketing tools. It is consistency in communication at all touch points. So when I say touch points, is any business that you're in, you must first draw up, on your drawing board saying, who is my touch points? Is it my, who are my customers? Your target group has to be defined right in the beginning. Only then you'll be able to create your product, your communication in that manner. So the way a proposal goes, the way a person is talking on the phone, all these are very, very crucial, and we took care of that. In a retail store, there is a person sitting and taking calls, because every time a customer would come, he would pick up a card and he would go. The next time he would just call and he says, okay, send flowers. So it is important that a person who's talking on the phone also is trained to speak very well. So since the business is all about flowers, it's very, very sentimental. He has to sound nice on the on the phone. So you cannot have a gruff person saying, hello florist, or what do you want to say. So we need to have somebody really nice and sweet. So we ensured that the people we were hiring to talk on the phone also had a very pleasant voice. They may not look good, they may not be educated, but they're smart enough, they can talk, we can have a ready script. So these are small details that we ensured that, that could be taken in the organization, the team, we trained the team for that, and that is what, initially is what we did, and that is what is now being, carried forward. So that's what we did in Florista. Moving over to the next question. We want to know that this was initially that, what we were doing. What do we do now? Pushpita. So how do you get your customers now? How many customers do you service? Are they corporate customers? Are they retail customers? Is it online? Is it offline? How is it now?
Yeah, well, we made the initial, I'll speak a bit about the challenge that we had, and also as a startup, what we initially did was we jumped on the whole advertising marketing gimmick and spent, lakhs on print media and magazines and stuff, which we realized people were just flipping over. You're sitting in a beauty salon, you see a Murcia ad, what do? You just look at the ad, say, okay, Murcia, flip over. But then we got smarter. We said, okay, we're spending so much of money on this, we will use the same media, but we will do it smartly. So what we do now is that we have write-ups about our products, we sponsor contests, so it's a more interactive thing in the print media itself. So you have a quiz contest, or you have any kind of a crossword puzzle or whatever, something which catches the attention of the reader and retains the attention, till you're on that page for some time at least, and you can see that, okay, if you do this, win this particular thing, you're going to win a gift hamper from Murcia. So we are using the same media, but in a different way. Secondly, we were present in stores, in counters across the country. We were there in Central Mall, we were there in Reliance and all. But we realized that, that a lot of it depends on the retailer. We are not reaching out to the customer directly. So we took a very informed decision to 100% move our business online, because online is something which allows you to speak to your customers directly. It helps you tell your story the way you would like to tell. So 100% of our business is online now, and we're very happy because we like our photographs to be clicked in a particular way. We like it to be kept in a particular way. And we didn't have the freedom when we were doing it through other retailers. Not that I'm saying that's not an acceptable way of retailing, but yes, online gave us the medium to reach our customers directly, the way we want to reach them. So I think right now we're doing a lot of online sales. We're doing social media. We're using Facebook to the fullest. We're using Twitter. We're using Pinterest. So most of our marketing is online right now, Smriti.
Okay. Also, I would like to ask Pushpita, when you say you're using Twitter, using Facebook, who writes the content? Do you do it yourself? Do you have a team? Do you outsource it? How expensive?
Yeah.
Inexpensive?
Right now we are outsourcing it, and believe me, it's not very expensive. We do it so we don't hard sell our product. There is a difference, and that is what I would also advise. For startups and entrepreneurs, do not hard sell your product. Do it in a fun way. So I'll just give you a small example. Like during Karwa Chauth, we had this contest where upload your mehendi designs, and the best mehendi design will get not only a free gift hamper from Murcia, but for one whole season we are going to name one bag style after you. So, if Sheetal wins the contest, there is a bag called Sheetal, which is going to be selling through all the online portals, and you're the proud owner of a title of a Murcia handbag. So, that was received very well, and we got a phenomenal response for that. So, that's what I'm saying, we use it in a very fun way. And Twitter and Pinterest also has really helped us market Murcia. So we do a lot of contests, we do a lot of events, and believe me, it's not very expensive media at all. Right now we are outsourcing it. Yeah.
Okay, great. What about you, Sheetal?
Couple of things. One is that when you attend a workshop, you expect a certain look and feel because it's an experience. So what I do is I don't really use hotel stationery. I have my book, I have my own folder which people can carry back. I also give them little chips of paper which is all branded with my logo, and that's consistent through my business card, through my website, through the presentation. So that same dark green color runs through everything and the logo. So when they take that folder back, many times they use it. And also I give them a certificate which is framed, and many times I visit people and they have the certificate on their wall. So that also helped, because people will say, oh really, you've been certified by this organization. So that was one thing that worked. Secondly, I felt that initially there is a lot of push one has to give, but if you have a good service, after that it is just pull, because people beyond a point are not led by any marketing gimmicks. It's word of mouth, and the customer out there, it's a very competitive space out there, and the customer is extremely smart. So beyond a point, I would say don't even bother with marketing in a very heavy way or spending a lot of money. Yes, use a lot of creative tools, get to your target audience, but there's no running away from the fact that if they have not enjoyed that experience of the service, they are not going to come to you how much ever you try to pull them. So initially you may need to do a lot of push, but if you are good, then you'll start seeing it all coming back to you as a pull. Another thing is, when I launched my book, HarperCollins was a publisher, and they have a very big marketing team, and they really helped me understand media marketing. So they created a Twitter account, they created a Facebook, LinkedIn, blog, everything. They would upload extracts from the book, and they would upload comments of people who have read the book. So the web is now become extremely important marketing tool, I feel, and initially you can do a lot of it yourself. So you don't have to hire somebody, and as she mentioned, it is not very expensive as yet in India to hire. So if you feel you want somebody on a part-time basis, just get them and they can help you initially. But yes, it is a very powerful tool, especially with a younger audience.
Yeah, sure, Sheetal. In Florista, once we moved to the store, we said, how else do we go out and reach out to customers? And we realized that, in flowers, there is a person A who is placing an order for for a person B. So, a person A is our customer, person B has not, seen us or heard us. So we said, how do we reach out to, person B? So it was important that B takes notice. So when I spoke about the delivery boy, giving that soft bow, we always realized that the recipient always picked up a card saying, where have you come from? Because at that point of time, it was unheard of and unseen that somebody comes like that very professionally and coming in, handing over flowers. We also realized that people, the delivery boys, when they travel, we gave them first class pass. So we said, you travel first class when you're carrying wonderful flowers, and they were never covered. The flowers were always open. And during the travel, when they were delivering from one place to other, we saw a lot of cards moving. So we said the delivery boy then becomes our marketing person. So we didn't have to hire an expensive, a salesperson to do it. Our, delivery boys were doing that themselves because people are automatically coming there. So there are a lot of ways in which you can actually, you need to keep your ears and eyes open to see where all can you reach out, where your card can move, and that's where you need to concentrate and focus on. The other thing we said is we've seen exhibitions. So a lot of exhibition centers, there were, every stall had one, nice bunch of flowers kept out there. So we said, okay, let's tie up with the exhibition organizer. We went and spoke to the organizer. We said, we'll give you free flowers, for your special guests and all. Give us a counter here and let everybody, we become your partner. So you have, Coffee Day Express sitting there. So without paying a penny, we just, gave them some flowers and we became their floral partner. And everybody in that exhibition picked up flowers from us, and we gave even the vase on rent. And after 3 days, we took it back. So 3 days we did our, great sale. So we really don't have to depend on a walk-in customer or somebody to call up. You can actually, keep your eyes and ears open for, different ways in which you can reach out to your customer, or different ways of, earning revenue. It's very important when Sheetal said that your processes have to be in place and your customer has to be happy. So we did take care of, small little details out there. It's a service business. When it's a very sensitive business that I'm in, when flowers reach late or, the product delivered is wrong, the customers can go really, really wild, and we get compliments, but we get complaints as well. And when the complaints come in, they just come crashing down and say, we'll send you to court tomorrow, you'll be in the papers tomorrow because my wife didn't receive her flowers on time and she went away from home and we had a fight. And there were so many things like that. And when such things happen, and crazy things have happened where initially, it was difficult when we had few, delivery team, and when they were traveling, in the same route. So if there's a car and a Bandra, they would travel together. So what happened was, coincidentally, there was, it was a birthday flower that he was delivering, and there was this person who had written a beautiful poem for his wife, and that had to go to her with a heart-shaped, flowers. And there was another person who was sending flowers to his wife for a birthday as well, and coincidentally, the name of the recipient name was the same. So what happened was, we came to know the next day. The guy calls up the, my customer care center, and he said, I did not expect this, from Florista, and I really trusted you, and I'd taken pains in writing. Then I only came to know later when my wife said, darling, it was nice, thank you for the flowers, but it was very amusing, the message that you sent. And the message that went, and would you like to know what went there? It said, happy birthday, Hitler. And he was really upset, and so we had to really, we had to worry about that. We have now very nicely written apology letter to the recipient. We went with a complimentary box of chocolates saying, it was a mess up because of us and not because of him, and that's how we retain. So in our case, it was not just one. Imagine the poem went to somebody else, so we had to.
Somebody else was very happy, I'm sure.
So there are things. So even if there's an issue with an order, there are ways and means in which you can retain a customer. So we've had customers coming back to us even if they've been upset because of a particular service or so and so. So these are small little processes. So the customer care has been trained to make sure that every issue is sorted out within 3 hours. That is the timeline given to them. So small processes put in place with data collected well, because you need to know who has delivered. So there are a lot of things that need to be taken care of, right? We need to know from which outlet it went in, because we have a couple of stores, so we need to identify who went there, pull up the delivery boy, then find out, then retrain him and tell him that this thing happened. So these are small things that you can do within the organizations, and these are also very, very essential. So so that is what what we went through. Let's come to innovation. It's important that what are the innovative marketing tools that we have used in our businesses. So let's start with Pushpita.
Okay. So since we are product based, what we did recently was that my whole idea is that Murcia should be for handbags what I feel Xerox is for photocopying, you know. So everybody should be carrying a Murcia handbag, and that's my most powerful tool, you know. So what we thought is that, you know, we have these very nice eco-friendly canvas bags with very funky slogans on them, you know. It's like you're Mr. Right, but I'll always be Mrs. Right, you know, and stuff like that. And so we made it at very less cost, you know, something like which would sell at $3.99, and we just flooded the market with that. So everybody would not, I mean, anybody would not mind picking up a 400 rupees canvas bag, and you know, it's a Murcia. So you're reaching out to more and more people who are saying that, okay, no, let's try. It's got a funky slogan, it looks good, I don't mind carrying it, and 400 is not a big deal. So that way, Murcia is going to every woman, you know, at a cost which is minimal. And secondly, it's also say a customer who is brand loyal to, say, a high design. She would not mind buying a 400 rupees bag and say, okay, I'm carrying a high design to office, but I don't mind carrying this shopping bag from Murcia. It's just 400 bucks, you know, and it looks nice and funky. So that high design customer is now buying a Murcia handbag. She sees it, she carries it, she likes it, you know, and she says, okay, so let's try one more Murcia bag. You know, it can't be that bad. Okay, I'm carrying a high design, but let's try another Murcia bag. So you get your customer addicted to your brand. You know, so this is a marketing strategy which we are thinking of, which we have launched recently, and is doing extremely well, because we're not only selling a product, but we're also marketing, and at a very low cost. You know, the product is selling, people are getting aware about the Murcia brand, and we're also converting people who initially would carry some other brand. They don't mind carrying a Murcia handbag now. So I think that has really worked well with us, both on the product front and on the marketing front.
Sheetal, any innovative ways in which you can, you know, you marketed your service?
You know, when I look back, when I started, as I said, in 2000, I would go out and meet a lot of HR managers, HR executives, because those are the ones who can actually give a training program. Many times they wouldn't be able to give a training program, but I had a very nice meeting with them. I would always enjoy my coffee, we would sit and chat, and we would discuss about a lot of things, and, you know, discuss about the market or the environment at that time. So have a nice intellectual conversation and come away. I really didn't realize that the world has become flat, and it has also become a level playing field. Those same people who were HR executives in 2000, in 2010 had become HR managers or general manager HR of large companies, depending on whatever career path they were on. And invariably they would call me and tell me, do you remember me? You had met me 10 years ago. Some I did remember, some I didn't remember. But you know, they became my marketing tools, because when they would join a new organization, they would invariably say, oh, you want to do a workshop on corporate etiquette? I know Sheetal, I can get in touch with her, I can organize the workshop. So I didn't realize, but I had these 200 satellite marketing gurus who were running around corporate India and who were selling programs for me. So many times I would get an entry into an account because they would change their job, or because they became in a position which was decision making and could actually give me business. So I think that you must bear in mind, like I always tell people, if you can't give somebody a wow experience in the service business, don't give them a negative experience. At least let them go away feeling neutral at the least, and wow, if you can make it, they'll never forget you, because that is your competitive edge. So I think that worked.
Yeah, very nice to hear that, Sheetal. With Florista, we had about a couple of years back, we realized that corporates, you know, can be a very big customer base, because they would like to send flowers to clients. It doesn't make sense for corporates to send, it's difficult rather for corporates when they have to send to managing directors and directors of companies who are their, clients for so many years. Sending flowers is very neutral, because there's no value associated to it. So it's more of warmth and stuff like that. So we said, how do we, tap the corporate? It's very difficult. So we said, who's the person who actually orders flowers, for a particular corporate? So it's always the person sitting at the reception, okay, or the secretary of the managing director. So there would be a mail or call going to the reception, said, why don't you order flowers? And so she was our customer, to get an entry into the corporate. So how do we tap her? So we created, we said, let's create a receptionist week, International Receptionist Week. Nobody even heard of it. There was Valentine's Day, but we said, no, it's receptionist week. So we decided which corporates we want to go to. And we sent with a nice flower, with a glass, with a little note with Florista saying, happy receptionist week, and they were really thrilled because people do like them. They don't really appreciate it. They don't get gifts, and flowers always come to people there. So that really worked actually, and they would always remember us. And we did get a couple of corporates because of that receptionist week initiative that we did. This was one of the marketing thing that we thought of. Other than that, we said let's innovate, something on our product. It's just fresh flowers. Let's add on more. So we added wine, we added cake, and we said what next? Let's do something different. So we said okay, let's organize a service where we have a guitar singer going singing 2 songs, and the flowers are being delivered. So there's cake, and we said let's add a clown. So we tied up with this company called Mad Hatters, and we said can you supply us a clown whenever we need? And he said yeah, sure. I said can you supply us a guitar singer? So he said yeah, fine, but he was taking a big chunk. And we had to price it very well, and we realized there were no takers because it was priced very high. And I said if we need a singer who's going to sing a happy birthday song and one or two songs, I don't need a professional guitar singer to go there. I need somebody who sings well, and it's just a half an hour job for him. So we put up posters in churches, and we put up very nice posters saying guitar singer required, and we did get a lot of people coming in, and we checked them out, and whoever the best of them, we said it's going to be on an on-call basis. Every time we get an order, then we would call you, would you like to do that? So they said yeah, that would be fun. And it did work very, very well, initially. So people were a little apprehensive, what are they going to sing? They said, no, will he sing Hindi? We said, yeah, sure. Even though the guitar didn't know Hindi, we downloaded the lyrics and we said, please, just sing Hindi for this customer. So he said, the first song I remember was that Duba Duba Rehta. And we keep pushing that to all the customers because our guitar singer knows that very well now. So it worked very, very well. Then after some time we said, no, what more can we do? Okay, this guitar singing is working very, very fine. And then there was this guy who called up, the gentleman who called up, and he said, it's my 25th wedding anniversary, and I've not given my wife something for a long time, and I'd like to do something different. Do you have? So we pushed this guitar singer. He said, I'm having a party. So he said, why don't you sing a song for her? He said, oh no, that will be a little overwhelming. He said, no, why don't you go and why don't you have this? So he said, okay, fine, let's go for it, but it has to come at 12 in the midnight because we're having a party. We said, fine, great. And then we thought of a new innovation. We said, why can't we print his face mask? We said, can you send your photograph, a high-resolution picture? So we printed a face mask of this gentleman, the guitar singer, and the delivery boy. Both were wearing his face mask. And they knocked at the door, and people were really amused. And it did a good word of mouth for us there. It was a big party. There were a lot of people who saw that. And so you can actually innovate over an innovation. So keep thinking about these new things because it really helps, in businesses. It really, really helps, yeah. Okay, so moving on.
It's really nice.
Funny. Yeah, it's funny. I still remember that, and it's quite funny. But the point is, if the sender was a woman, I didn't have a woman guitarist, so she cannot wear a female face and go and say that. So there is flip side to that as well. But yeah, it worked at that point of time. Let's talk about medium that we're talking about, like print media, radio. It is expensive, and there are times where you have to do it, this way, or maybe PR. You need to be talked about, you need to be seen. How can you be seen? Networking is fine, but it's very, very close group. So have you, put ads in newspapers? If yes, then which papers have you used? Has it really worked? Was it very effective? Are you continuing to do so? Is it that initial years it's important, or later on is it important? So how is that, what kind of strategy did you adopt for?
Smriti, we did start with newspaper ads and magazine ads because at that point of time it was required. You put an ad in the newspaper so that also at a particular point of time it's not only B2B but it's it's a B2B business also. So your buyers and your clients, the retailers, they need to know that you're serious about your business. It's not just fly by night kind of just taking up a few handbags and saying, okay, I want to put up a counter in your store. So those ads kind of gave a seriousness to my business that yes, she's a serious player. And but after the first wave that we have in the initial years of the print media, I think we cut down on that. Because I think it had solved its purpose. The whole idea behind it was to get the attention of the retailers, and that we did. But after that, we decided to move on to other media. I think the social media was a very powerful tool that we used, and we got on it very early. At a time when Myntra was just doing customized t-shirts, that is a time when we decided to put Murcia on the online platform. So we really use the social media a lot, and also I would say that print media has worked. I have not used any PR agency as such, because being a product, I strongly believe that the product speaks for yourself, and being a startup, I don't think I have that kind of money even now to invest in a PR agency. I believe my product should do my talking. So no, we've not gone for any PR agency. We just use the online media and the print media to an extent to market our products.
What about you, Sheetal?
I haven't used any PR or print media, and in the initial years, I was in a dilemma. I said, should I advertise? I'm sure everybody, you want to try new things, want to do different things, and I was contemplating. And suddenly I got this one assignment where a CEO with his board of directors wanted to do a corporate etiquette training, individually, one-on-one coaching, for him as well as his 5 directors. And they said, Miss Mehra, the only thing is that this has to be extremely confidential, because we don't know the whole board has been trained on corporate etiquette. And that's when I realized, that really gave me focus, because I realized that in my business it's about how quiet you are. And then one or two of these, what are these beauty pageants, contacted me and said, would you like to train our, these girls, young girls, beauty contestants on corporate etiquette? And then I realized that, this gentleman, the CEO and his team of 5 helped me give focus, because I said, why did you come to me? Because he said, yours is a very quiet business and I know you do serious work, whereas I would not want to go to somebody who's, all over the place and is seen in a different setting. So he said, you are a corporate setting. I don't want to meet somebody who's from a business, from a social setting or a beauty pageant. And that was really the defining moment when I decided that my business is going to be only corporates and the social cannot mix. So, like somebody told me, I write for Economic Times Corporate Dossier. I'm on the 3rd page is my article every Friday. And they said, are you page 3 of Bombay Times or are you page 3 of Economic Times? And I'm really grateful to this gentleman. Every time I meet him, I tell him that, you really helped me define my audience, because initially you're lost. You don't know whom you're selling to. And this was the defining moment. So, of course, he paid me to coach him. Technically, I should have paid him for his advice. So that helped.
Great. Well, for Florista, initially you have too many advisors when you actually start up. So, you don't know what to do. And I did fall in for, one of them. They said, if you have to be seen and you have to be heard, you have to get into PR. So I said, I don't have too much of money to give PR. So there was this PR agency, couple of PR agencies who had approached, and finally after negotiating, they said, 90,000 is what we will charge. I said, that's a huge sum. I mean, I cannot put that kind of money. So I said, okay, give it in phases of 3 months, 30,000. So I said, okay, what will you do? So I said, no, you'll be written about, your product will be written about in, various, papers and stuff like that. I said, okay, fine. So let's see. This was in, I think, 2006, if I'm not mistaken. So we did that, 30,000 a piece, and the people on the PR agents would call up and say, okay, what else are you doing? What new are you doing? Because we need to write about you. And it was very difficult for me to say, what new am I doing that you can write about? Because at that time I just had one single store. And I said it was wrong. I mean, it was just not right. The time was not right. Why am I, wasting money on this PR? It doesn't really work. So they did put up. I said, okay, let's, we'll do flower arrangement workshop, because, there was this time on a Saturday afternoon where, the store was completely empty. There were no walk-ins coming in. I said, let's do a flower arrangement workshop. Let's call up people from corporate offices saying, or, retail customers saying, come and do this workshop. It's a basic training on how to arrange, a bunch of flowers, and you can take home a bunch of flowers. So they put that workshop, on a midday or something like that, and we did get a couple of calls, and beyond that I did not see any value. And I said, I'm really wasting my time on and money on this PR. And we said, after 3 months, they said, no, now you have to increase, because it's too small an amount you're putting in. That's the reason why you're not seeing the returns, is what they said. I said, I'm sorry, I really can't do that. I'm too small, right now, and I can't afford that. And we put an end to that PR after 3 months. And then we just focused on our product, our innovation, our services, and PR automatically happens. And then people want to come to you. So if it's a Valentine's Day, people were looking, media was looking for stores, to go and interview. So we got, a nice interview and we didn't have to pay for that. And realized, hey, this is coming free. It's great, And then, when the other store happened and, there was a lot of, international, days that are coming up here where, people are looking for, and if your product and service is making a difference and it's great, it's adding value, PR will automatically happen to you. So even now till date, we're not spending on PR, but there would come a time where you would require a higher PR. So yeah, at Florista we are not.
Actually, in the product business especially, if the product speaks for itself and if it exceeds expectations, it becomes a PR in itself. Like I said, you're creating brand ambassadors for your product.
True, absolutely. Pushpita, to the audience, I would like to say, we wanted to be heard on radio. We said, let's use radio as a medium. And we went and checked out the radio stations and, how much are they going to charge? And it was, per second, per minute. And we said, oh God, this is really expensive. So we thought, why not give them flowers? We said, okay, you run a contest like what you did. Yes. We said, let's run a contest and, we'll gift, the winner, free bunch of flowers. And we did that on Mother's Day. Say something nice about your mother and you get free flowers to be delivered to your mother. And that worked very, very well. And for us, it was a barter. So we were giving flowers and they were, giving us a radio spot. And that worked really, really well. In fact, last year for Amitabh Bachchan's birthday, the radio station approached us saying, every reader who wishes Amitabh Bachchan, there'll be a flower which will be added and we'll create a 6 feet, arrangement, for Amitabh, and it will go and be delivered in Amitabh's house. And, so it was Fever 104 and, there a lot of media that got covered and on their Facebook page, it was put up. So we did that. So it works very well. So you don't have to really have a paid media thing. You could also look at a barter where you can offer your product or services for something like that. Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I think we're running out of time. So
hello, when you're doing hello, when you do this online contest, doesn't that cost money? Like this is for Pushpita or any one of you. If you're doing online contest, like you said that Mehendi contest that you did.
No. Online contests don't, it's not charged separately. Like I said, I have outsourced my social media activity. So they take it as a package. It's not a separate cost. It is a part of the package. They're supposed to do contests to engage, all the audience. So no, it's not charged separately at all. We do it every 15 days. We have some kind of interesting contest running. Like for Valentine's Day, we had, write your love story and the best love story would get a prize, and we had an overwhelming response. It took us 2 days to go through all the stories that were sent to us, which was lovely. But so these contests are not charged separately, no.
And to tell you that one of your places, Florista, I think it was a good thing. I came to know about your brand at the airport. When you're receiving somebody and suddenly you realize you're not taking flowers, you're looking around and Florista is there. And they give it in a very beautiful way. I think they make some designs and all, and heart-shaped designs and whatnot. And that's when it caught my attention. Thank you.
In the online medium for advertising your product, is there a way in which you can direct people towards your Facebook account or your Twitter account? What is the method of doing that for a larger audience? Is there a method to do that, since you said you have a Facebook and Twitter and things like that?
Yes, you need to be very sorted out and focus on who is your target group, So there is a point where you can filter down, like there are X amount of women. But what kind of women are you targeting at? Like for Murcia, I want somebody, who's in a certain age bracket or, a certain income level. So Facebook it has these options where you can filter down to what is your target audience and you can reach out particularly to those target audience. So yes, you have a lot of ways to do that. I think it's a very exhaustive question, so maybe we can meet offline. We'll take it offline, yeah.
I think there's one more question, so we have time for one more.
Okay, she's already got it. One last one, whoever would like to.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, my name is Lata. At the outset, I just wanted to thank the Times of India for this program, and especially I want to give a beautiful compliment to Sheetal. You look so calm and composed. Maybe this is a success for you.
Thank you.
And in the program, I must have derived some productive knowledge if I had come in the morning, but I was late. But still, I find it so productive and informative and innovative that I got good ideas. So this is just to show my gratitude and thanks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all
so
for
much.
a wonderful audience.
Can you take a last question?
Z, one last question.
Okay, one last one. Because the laptop is being
Thank you so much. Okay, my question is for Sheetal. Sheetal, I'm a soft skills trainer and I plan to start on my own. All of you all spoke about the word of mouth and networking and everything. But my question is, how do you get that first customer, your first client?
No one size fit all, I'll be honest with you, and it's very long, tedious journey. In fact, I feel it's very tough to get your first 3 customers, and then it becomes progressively easy. So your next 3 will come much faster, and the following 3 you won't even know from where they land up. So I can just tell you one piece of one advice which somebody gave me. They said that when you start your own business, you feel life is a 100-meter dash, but honestly it's a marathon. So just be at it, it'll happen.